this week, standing proudly and regaling us on the subject matter of the effect of magazines on young women is the broadcaster, Kerry McCarthy.
Well, Nick, what I want to talk about is magazines aimed at young women, the woeful grief rags that do nothing more than revere the nation's favourite underclass, the modern-day celebrity, because I'm afraid that's all the famous are nowadays. The new underclass is just more garish and conspicuous than ever because their deficiency isn't in money, it's in intelligence and, more notably, taste. And the women that these magazines convey as role models have usually become famous by latching on like a limpet to gristle-headed footballers, cage fighters, or a man with a guitar. And those who've become famous in their own right have often just done so by preening, posing and writhing, as though that's all this gender has to give to society. I mean, some of us beg to differ, but the more young people are force-fed on this pop gruel, the fewer will know the alternative nobility in actually gaining recognition for doing something good. And in today's media, that is a rarity. For every celebrity, as we were saying, who's done something good, you've got 1,000 tanorexic blandroids who are just, you know, there to bark out a script off an auto cue. I think there was a time when some women would make it famous by singing well or at a push cooking in public. Something like that, you know, it's valid. But nowadays, you can have a talent, like a beautiful voice, but unless you're freakish in some way, then you have to make yourself freakish by having the fat sucked out of half your body, the other half filled with plastic, if you want to be admitted into the celebrity fishbowl. And I don't think that's an understatement. I think there are few famous women nowadays who are not enhanced in some way. I think it's bad enough pointing at oddly shaped gargoyles and parading them around like a Victorian freak show, which I have seen done on one or other channel most nights, but to actually aspire to being that abomination and wanting to augment your own body, that you might actually become a dead-eyed sex toy, that signals a black spot in civilization to me. And crucially, because no one's awake enough to recognise its arrival, it's the death knell for any hope of female liberation. And this isn't about, you know, fighting against men. This is about the contribution we could make to society if we mobilised our real strengths of intelligence, empathy, diplomacy, innovation, stamina. I mean, I could go on. Of course I could. But if we spend our time focusing on defacing our bodies and minds in the name of shoehorning ourselves into fame's fickle mould for that particular week, which thousands of young girls are made to want nowadays by these magazines which promote plastic surgery, weight loss, things like that, then it means that you don't have any self-worth and you've got no reason for being of your own. You've kind of handed your point in the space-time nexus over to the self-serving media villains who'd love to see women forever docile and impressionable because we buy more that way. And I'm talking about, I was looking at magazines this week, you know, lose 10 pounds in a week, 15 signs he's not into you, 100 best bags of the season. This is what we're talking about. Should WAG take back Shrek-faced footballer after 3-in-a-bed romp, allegedly? Is beady-eyed Chav from the aptly named Ordinary Boys going to get back together with Big Brother casualty Chantel? Or will he just pursue his career in a rehab clinic, or like many other famous people, by driving into a tree whilst drunk? Will that be next for him? I don't know. But these magazines are just stuffed with this kind of inconsequential neon trivia that gives militant ignorance a bad name. You could have World War III breaking out and the articles would be the same. It'd be like, you know, stay slim with the help of rationing. Is your husband cheating on you whilst he's on the front line? I just want to say, come on, women. Surely we've got more to worry about than our weight, men, and aspiring to the life of the bottom-feeding celebrity proletariat. Men used to patronise us openly and ask us to spend our lives chasing after them, looking pretty and staying out of the real issues. But now men don't have to tell us how to behave because we demand this lifestyle for ourselves and each other. And magazines enmesh us up in this way of thinking until we don't know our own minds and our own needs, because false needs are superimposed over them to keep us consuming, and a collective patriarchal voice now speaks out of our own mouths. So as tempting as I know it is to glimpse Kerry Katona looking wretched or find out where Lily Allen got her spandex leotard, I say no to magazines, and I want women across London to do the same. You with me, Nick?
Do you know what? I'm with you, sister.